The How of Happiness by Sonja Lyubomirsky. This book may be the #1 book I'd recommend people to read on the science of well-being and happiness, and it has helped me a lot personally. It inspired me to pick up more hobbies, do more journaling, and think more about my goals. In this video, we'll explore why this book's so good, and really that boils down to 2 reasons. It's very practical and offers a plethora of ways to change your behaviour, and the second point, which is very rare for books, is that it actually personalizes the information to the reader. The book starts off with some useful and not too lengthy context. It states that happiness is largely an immediate action you can take, rather than a matter of circumstances or genetics. This is backed up by the so-called 40% rule, which describes that 50% of our happiness is determined by genetics, only 10% by life circumstances, and 40% by the proactive choices we take each moment and each day. It's easy to mope at this information and say, "Oh, so much of my happiness is out of my control, I'm doomed." But I want you to know that within that 40%, there is room for everyone to be happy, even the most anxiety or depression doomed person. The context at the start of the book is useful, and I would definitely recommend reading it, especially to people who are at the start of their journey into positive psychology and need some convincing that this stuff is really legit. But the real meat of the book for me was the next section. In chapters 3 through 10, 12 happiness activities are discussed in a good amount of detail. Why they work and how to most effectively implement them is also explained. Some examples of this are physical exercise, setting goals, and finding flow state. These activities are all great, all empirically proven to boost well-being and cover a lot of ground. The real magic of this book, however, lies tucked away in chapter 3. Here, a choose-your-own-adventure of life happiness is presented. You're asked to rate each of the happiness activities on how natural, enjoyable, and valuable you expect to find them, and also how guilty or forced they would make you feel. Then a formula is applied to show you which exercises will benefit you the most individually. This is great. I hate how positive psychologists always recommend activities like talking to random strangers. As an introvert, it was refreshing that this book recommended me activities such as setting 8 goals for myself and keeping a diary to track when I enter the flow state. It's such a different approach to many psychology books which will give generic advice based on the science, while neglecting that science studies groups, and you, the reader, are fundamentally an individual. The only small gripe I had with this book is that there are a lot of thinking-based exercises. If you know me, I think thinking-based exercises are kind of dumb and just don't really work because thoughts are so hard to control and manage compared to our actions. So one little tip I have for you with this book is to turn thinking exercises into writing exercises. This turns a mental tug-of-war into an actual activity you can do and exercise a lot more control over in the real world. For example, instead of trying to mentally turn pessimistic thoughts into positive ones, actually write them down and write down a more positive one in its place, and how that thought is more useful to help you achieve your goals. Keep that in mind when you're going over the happiness exercises. Overall, this is a brilliant book, probably the best I've read on positive psychology so far, and I would highly recommend it to anyone looking to boost their well-being and happiness, which should be everyone. I urge you all to pick it up, and if you don't feel like doing a lot of reading, at least look at chapter 3 and use it to find some happiness activities that suit you. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, please subscribe. I only have 3 subscribers, and thanks for watching again.